explicit, explicit, explicit. So, let's talk about the word explicit as a part of speech. It's an adjective, which means it describes or modifies a noun or pronoun. In common usage, explicit is used to describe something that is clearly and directly stated or shown, with no hidden or implied meaning. For example, in music, if a song has explicit lyrics, it means the words are not censored and are freely expressed without any filtering. It's also used in other contexts, like art or literature, where explicit refers to something that is depicted or described in detail, often with a focus on realism or accuracy. One special note about using explicit is to be mindful of your audience and context. What might be acceptable in one situation or group may not be in another. Here are 3 practical example sentences using the word explicit with varying levels of formality. In a formal lecture setting, a professor might say, "The artist's use of explicit themes in her paintings has sparked controversy among some critics who feel that she is crossing boundaries." The context here is a university art history class where the professor is discussing the societal implications of contemporary art. In this case, explicit refers to the clear and unambiguous depiction of mature or sensitive topics. In a casual conversation with friends at a coffee shop, someone might say, "I'm not going to watch that explicit sex scene in the movie. It's just too much for me." The context here is a group of friends discussing their weekend plans, and one person is expressing hesitation about watching a certain film. In this case, explicit refers to the clear and unambiguous depiction of mature or sensitive content. In a business meeting with colleagues from different departments, a marketing manager might say, "We need to make sure that our social media campaigns are not explicit in their sales pitches, but rather subtle and engaging." The context here is a team brainstorming session where the marketing manager is outlining strategies for increasing brand awareness. In this case, explicit refers to clear or direct language that may be off-putting to potential customers. So you're wondering about this concept that means clearly stating something without leaving any room for doubt or uncertainty. Okay, let me break it down for you. Main characteristics of this idea are that it's straightforward and to the point, giving no space for misinterpretation. It's like writing a clear instruction on how to do something, so there's no confusion about what needs to be done. Similar concepts or synonyms could be clear, straightforward, or to the point. When this idea is used in communication, it helps ensure that everyone involved understands exactly what's being said or meant, which can really help avoid misunderstandings and conflicts. Federal, federal, federal. So, let's break down the word federal. As a noun, it refers to a system of government where power is divided between a central authority and smaller regional governments. In common usage, you'll often hear the term federal used to describe something related to or characteristic of this type of government, such as federal law, federal agency, or federal elections. For example, in the United States, the Constitution is considered a fundamental document that outlines the powers of the federal government. It's worth noting that the word federal can also have connotations of unity and cooperation among different regions or groups, which is why you might see it used to describe international organizations like the Federal Reserve System or the European Union, which aims to promote economic and political cooperation among its member states. In a formal setting, you might say something like, The federal government has announced plans to allocate additional funds to support local education initiatives. This sentence uses federal to refer to a level of government that is centralized and responsible for making laws and policies on behalf of the entire country. Context explanation. This type of sentence would be suitable for a news article, policy briefing, or academic paper discussing the role of federal government in education. In casual conversation, you might say something like, "I just got back from visiting my cousin who works at the federal courthouse downtown." Here, federal is used to distinguish the local courthouse from other types of courthouses that may be state or privately owned. Context explanation. This type of sentence would be suitable for chatting with a friend or acquaintance about your recent activities. In business or academic settings, you might say something like, "The company's federal tax returns are due soon and we need to review the financial reports." In this context, federal is used to refer specifically to taxes levied by the central government. Context explanation. This type of sentence would be suitable for a meeting or discussion about business operations and financial planning. So, when we talk about the government of a country that has multiple levels of administration, from local towns and cities all the way up to the national level, we use a special term. It's like a framework that helps tie everything together, ensuring that each part works in harmony with the others. This system is characterized by a shared power structure, where decision-making authority is divided among different branches or levels of government. In this context, it's similar to a layered cake. You have small units at the bottom, which are connected to larger ones above them, all working together to form a cohesive whole. What it does is provide a clear set of rules and procedures that guide how power is distributed and used within each level of government, helping to maintain order and stability throughout the country. Fee. 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 So, let's talk about the word fee. The part of speech is a noun, which means it refers to a person, place, thing, or idea. In common usage, a fee is typically a charge paid for something specific, like a service, an entrance ticket, or a license. For example, the library charges a daily fee of $2 to access their computers. You'll also see the word fee used in more formal contexts, like business or law, where it might refer to a payment made for a particular transaction or agreement. One special note about using the word fee is that you can also use it as a verb, which means to charge or demand something in return for a service. For instance, the company will fee customers an extra $10 per month if they don't cancel their subscription. Overall, understanding how to use the word fee correctly will help you communicate more clearly and accurately in both everyday conversations and professional settings. When discussing university admissions, it's common to hear that some programs charge a non-refundable application fee, which can be a significant deterrent for prospective students on a tight budget. For instance, a student might say, "I'm really interested in applying to Stanford, but I don't know if it's worth the $90 application fee." Here, the casual conversation usage of fee is informal and conversational, used by someone discussing their personal plans and decisions. On the other hand, in a more formal academic setting, such as a university registrar's office, staff might remind students that the deadline for submitting the completed application form along with the required fee is February 15th. This usage of fee is more formal and objective, used by administrators communicating official policies. Finally, in a business context, such as a meeting between investors and a startup founder, It's not uncommon to hear the entrepreneur mention, "Our development team is now free to focus on product features without any further infrastructure fees." Here, the usage of fee is more conversational but still formal, used by someone discussing their company's financial situation. So you want to know about this thing that's often charged when you need help with something, especially when it comes to communication or language. Well, let me tell you, it's like a small payment that's made so someone can assist you with a task, like translating text or speaking with someone who doesn't share the same language. This cost is usually pretty affordable and helps make sure that people are available to help others when they need it. It's kind of like a membership or subscription to a service. But in this case, it's more like paying for one-time assistance. For example, you might see it mentioned on websites where you can talk with someone who speaks another language, and you'll have to pay a little bit extra so that person can take the time to chat with you. That's basically what we're talking about.